Hey guys, my name is Olga, this is Yoga Lab. Today's lab is all about side-facing lunges. In order to get to them, we'll need a block or a book, so please have one handy. The benefits of these postures are immense. You're going to be working on your hip flexors, strengthening, releasing the tension and lengthening those. You're also going to be expanding the length in the musculature around your lower spine, which is absolutely awesome for your lower back, especially if you sit a lot. You also will feel the fire and activation in the pelvic floor and the lower belly, which is absolutely amazing for women's health. And you will also empower yourself because those postures really build the heat and really enable you to feel your strength. Before we get right into them, we need a block or a book so that you can engage the musculature that will be crucial for those. Get a block or a book, squeeze it between your thighs. Notice how you had to step your feet a little bit wider apart, maybe even wider than the hip width distance. Separate your toes wide and lift the edges of your feet off the mat. While doing that, also feel how your block is getting squeezed between your thighs, and notice how this action in your feet as you ground yourself into the floor or mat allows you to employ this musculature in your inner thighs, in your legs, which gets really deep because now you feel the activation beneath your belly button and even in your pelvic floor. So these are the key muscles that we're going to be using lunging facing sideways. You can release now the outer edge of your foot to the ground. Keep the toes wide as you squeeze the block or a book, whatever you have here, and try to push it all the way forward. Notice how your lower back lengthens, how the space under your belly button, that lower belly, really activates. Remove the block. And let's get into the lunge. Come into an easy kneeling position. Align your front foot perpendicular to the front of your mat. And make sure your knee is right above the ankle. Now, get your hands on the ground and really establish strong foundation first. Bring your back foot parallel or almost parallel, maybe a slight 10-degree angle to the back of your mat. Really now lift the edge of that back foot and notice how the weight dumps into your back knee. Please don't do it. Roll the outer edge out and maybe even lift the instep of that back foot. And notice how that over-engages and putting stress on that back knee. Please don't do it. Use the whole back foot to really ground yourself through the mat. Notice that your front knee is above the ankle. And then while you're still in here, use the power of your inner thighs to push the front thigh more towards the middle of the mat so you feel the nice alignment from the hip to the knee, and the knee is not going inside. That's the work of that front inner thigh. Lunging into that front leg to the point where you bring the belly of the front thigh parallel to the ground. Use the back leg as much as you use the front leg. It's so easy to really dump all of your weight, all of your power, and make your front leg do all the work. Don't do that. Really use your back leg, and then as you melt that outer blade of your back foot to the ground, feel this engagement through the back inner thigh as you felt during using your block. As you lunge into the front leg, keep pivoting your front knee out towards your front pinky toe so you really enable nice alignment in the hips and protect your beautiful knees. Once you've established your foundation, make sure that you're light from the waist up. What does it mean? You already know that your inner thighs are working, that your pelvic floor is lifting, that space beneath the belly button is really activated. So the torso in side-facing lunges is facing to the side, hence the name of the poses, of the group of poses. Lift through the torso And think about squeezing your lower ribs inward. So the back, the mid-thoracic, is tall without rounding. And then there is a tendency also to do a back bend here, which puts a lot of strain on your lower back. So really activate through the abdominals, hugging the lower ribs in. And then to become a little lighter and make the pose a little bit more inhabitable, flip the palms up for a moment. Notice how your shoulder blades sink down back into their sockets, how the blades press against the upper ribs on your back. And with that lightness in the shoulders, flip the palms then back down. Keep the breath moving because nothing else will carry you through this pose with much ease than your breath. And then gaze past your front fingers. Another common thing in this pose to do, which I do a lot, is lift this back arm somewhere to the side. You can always send your gaze back, realign your arm so it's in line with your front one, and return your dristi back to the front. The second side-facing pose we're gonna get to is the side angle. As you lunge into that front thigh, make those warrior two legs. Same grounding through the back foot and engagement through the inner thighs. Same position of the front knee, which is aiming towards your front pinky toe. And then if you'd like a block, place it near. For the side angle pose, we're gonna take our front arm and place it either on the outside or the inside of the front foot, depending on the type of yoga you're practicing. So before you get into the pose, lengthen all the way forward through your front arm so you enable a lot of space to get created between your front ribs and your front hip, so there is no crunching onto the front side. As you lengthen and find more space in that bottom rib cage now, windmill your arms and take your front arm to the inside or the outside of your front foot, and then extend your back arm up. Gaze follows past your upper hand. Notice that there is no rounding through your upper rib cage. There is a tendency to do this pose like this, when this side crunches and then this side is bending. Straight torso all the way from the coccyx to the crown of the head is one unbent line. So really press this rib cage down. You will notice how your lunge gets a little deeper and how the engagement of the obliques become much stronger. One important note for the side angle pose is that when your hand is outside of your thigh, really work that thigh towards your arm. It enables you to really develop strong inner thighs, good activation through the pelvic core and the lower belly. When your arm is on the inside of the front leg, you really can use the resistance between the front leg and the arm in order to find really good opening through the hips and activation through the inner thighs. Check out them both. See which one works best for your body for this particular practice. Next one we're getting into is the trikonasana, triangle pose. Align the feet like in for warrior two. And then similar as for the side angle, reach the front as much as you possibly can to get this side of the body, this side of the torso extended, bringing the ribs further away from the hip. And as you reach, find this length. Notice this side is straight. There is no hump in the upper ribs right now. And then windmill your arms. The arm, the hand can come to the shin, to the floor inside or the outside of your leg. And then your gaze goes past your upper hand. Once again, the block is always there for you to make the pose more accessible and breathable. In this posture, make sure you're not crowding your shoulders towards your ears. Really let yourself breathe by pushing the shoulders back down on your back. And notice no bad sensations in the front knee. You can always flex your front foot towards your shin. This is a very powerful modification, especially if you have knee troubles and you feel very achy in your MCL or LCL practicing this pose. Another variation here would be slightly micro bend the front knee to offset the pressure. But most likely when your knee is really aching in a Trikonasana, take a shorter stance. Modify the pose so your body is really thriving in it and it's using the posture to advance, get stronger, and get more flexible, not injure yourself. Get a shorter stance. Take a block. The block has three heights to it, rather, I should say. Take the block to its highest height and really find your position. Maybe stay after class, play with it. Notice which position would work best for you. In the Trikonasana, as well as in the previous side angle pose, we really feel the hip flexors opening and strengthening. I hope you enjoyed today's lab. I hope it was useful, and I'll see you again soon. Namaste.